What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. It's Monday night, and you know what we do on Monday nights. We get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta, like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is episode 2. I'll do the taglines next week. The taglines really wasn't, maybe not. I didn't like any of them really. I did not care for any of the taglines, to be honest. So they was all very much mid. What's up, El Cid? Passing through. You know what I'm doing over here. I'm getting into these Real Housewives of Atlanta. El Cid said, would you please like, share, and subscribe to the video? That's the thing to do. It's free 99. It's a free way to support the channel. Your girl is over here jiggling and jiggling for a piece of like. You ain't see me jiggling? I wasn't jiggling where y'all could see it. Jiggling and jiggling for a piece of like. That's what I'm out here doing. A piece of subscribe, y'all. Come on, let's get into it. Anyway, this episode was all right. Like I said, I'm going to come over here and view this as performances. This is not reality TV, although I feel like a few people were being real this week. Shout out to K. Michelle for being, bringing her real life situation over here. And shout out to Pinky as well for, I'm glad this conversation with Pinky is surrounded by things that are going on in her real life. I was afraid she was going to come over here and pretend as if, she was, in a different place than she is. What's up, T? We talked about this a little bit earlier, but we could go ahead and get into the things that are the things. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and get this conversation started. I done shimmied for y'all for, down here, like a whore on the corners, begging for something to, pay for my dinner. Anyway, I didn't say that. Don't take that back. I'm going to take that back. Anyway, where did we get started over here? Portia, Kelly, and K. Michelle go out to have a little lunch. I mean, I guess this is an interesting little matchup because we know Kelly is Shamia's BFF forever for the rest of her life. So they're over here acting like they trying to build some type of relationship, but that's not what it is. And K. Michelle is over here like, I don't know, she's just trying to get in where she fit in. And to be honest, her tagline said she don't need no backup, and she don't. She's over here doing just fine without any backup. So Portia and Kelly, they want to rebuild their relationship, so to speak. And they was having a little girl chat, y'all, and K. Michelle said Black was in her DMs. Black, what do you do? Is Black as a music industry person? Because this is the thing about Atlanta. There's not a lot of men to go around. And see, these girls be sharing. And I don't mean the married ones necessarily. I meant, the single ones. But, music industry, athletes, it's the whole thing. Because there's way more women than there is men around there. And then I guess a good percentage of the men quite possibly could be playing for the other team. So, it makes the numbers a little in terms of relationships and things. Anyway, Black is out here. This is the thing. Black can be in K. Michelle's DMs. There's nothing wrong with that because Drew is still married to the man that lives under her stairs. So, according to Drew, they were just friends. So if they were just friends, then, nothing is, no tea is over here. He's the hookah man. Oh, that's right. He's the hookah man. Isn't hookah getting played out? I don't know. Hopefully he could pivot. Maybe he's made all the money he needs. But based on what I see, but I mean, I feel the same way about Ralph. So Drew's taste, the finest thing Drew been associated with is old girl. That be's over here, what's her name? She be getting all the ladies. Mimi Faust. See, she's another one. Been all around Atlanta. She just like these ninjas. Anyway, it's a little early in the video. I want to say something. I'm trying to do better. Anyway, Portia tells Kelly that what'd she say? Portia told Kelly that the closer she got with the Shamia, the more toxic she became towards her. Probably. Because that's what BFFs do. They be over, wherever they be, talk shit about each other. And, Portia and Kelly didn't necessarily have a friendship. We met Kelly because Shamia brought her over here in the first place. So, and Portia, I don't think Portia really be out here trying to become closer or get to know any of these ladies. Portia be out here doing what she need to do for Portia, making sure she stands in front of everybody. And they got her standing in front of everybody, but not for any good reason besides, I don't know, they like what she looks like. Portia says that her feelings was hurt because Kelly went on the after show and said Portia to be sleeping with all the married men. Now, Kelly, you did say that. So, I mean, I don't know how you thought that was going to play out. Kelly never liked Portia. I don't think so. I don't think she ever liked her. So, but what's to like besides her beauty? Portia's not somebody. I don't think Shamia is any better, to be honest. Birds of a feather flock together. So, for Kelly, if she moved Portia on out the way, then Shamia and her can be BFFs. Like, they planning over here. Maybe their idea, they did bring it up last season that they was over here trying to form alliances, and one of their alliances, jumped ship and went over there to Portia's side. So, who knows what's going on with that. But yeah, she went on an after show and said Portia was sleeping with everybody's husband. So Portia took this opportunity to plan a pretend lunch with these ladies so she could come over here with some bullshit story that didn't make any type of sense. You said, well, she did sleep with one for sure and threatened to sleep with Angela's man. And she did do that. She did do that. And I don't know any circumstances where it would be coming out of my mouth where I say I should sleep with somebody's husband. That's not something that you say unless you're that type of chick. And I don't want no husband. Not one of my own, but I do respect relationships. So, if you're that type of chick, that's the type of stuff you say. I don't think she was playing Portia. I think Portia is definitely the type of chick that would go approach your husband, try to see like what his weaknesses are in retaliation of something that you may have said about her. So, I mean, Kelly, be glad you ain't got a husband because Portia might go ahead and try to get back at you through your man. Anyway, Portia basically says that Kelly has a lot of nerve even saying that about her when she's out here doing the same thing. And she came up with this story about how Kelly was involved, intimate in the moment with some man. And then one of her friends, was on the phone. And so this man is laying next to Kelly talking about, I just banged Kelly, which didn't make sense. And then somehow, or, in this conversation, Kelly and this man were discussing Dennis. It was a hot mess. It was, Portia's a terrible liar. And so her receipts ain't receipting. And yeah, I don't know. Kelly said, this didn't happen. And K Michelle is just as confused as she want to be. She looking, it's like a tennis match. Like, what the heck is going on? We came over here to have a girls' little kiki, and y'all is talking about who was sleeping with married men. Good grief. Anyway, I think Kelly feels like they're being so nice to each other. It feels like in these first couple episodes. Everybody's willing to look past whatever issues they had, last season. We're going to move forward. That's generally where we start, moving forward and protecting the sisterhood. So that's what we do over here on these Bravo shows. But, these girls decided they were going to move forward. There was no moving forward after that. Kelly's pissed, but, for the sake of, I guess, not blowing up the lunch, she decided that she would go ahead and hug it out. They had a little hug it out motorboat situation. What'd you say, T? Portia been on the show long enough to know she's got to bring real receipts. Yeah, her word is not going to be a good receipt. We're not, I don't believe it anyway. Kelly been over here trying to, struggle through her life with this ex-husband and, getting her restaurant together. If there was a man in the building, he should have had come up with some money to help her get that restaurant together. We're going to talk about that. Like I said, I don't know how Kelly is going to be friends with Portia when she's best friends with Shamia, and Shamia and Portia are on the outs. And so, let's just agree to be cordial. And, that's what they did. Okay, Michelle said, y'all ladies are funny. And so She really got a kiki out of how y'all do lunch together. Be careful, K. Michelle. You know, Portia brought you over here, and she will do what she needs to do to take you out. I don't think K. Michelle's going anywhere though. I think K. Michelle's entertaining, and I think Andy gonna like her a whole lot. So Portia, you know, I don't think Portia's going anywhere either. So I don't want to see a beef between the two of them. Hopefully, K. Michelle just blows her off because she's, you know, she's not even a worthy adversary, to be honest. So Pinky and her husband, they have 5 kids. He had 2 prior to the marriage, and then you know they have 3 together. So there's 11, 9, 4, 3, and the baby. We don't know how much, you know, how old he is, or even what his name is, because it seems like this lady forgot. She's down to baby number 5. She don't even remember, you know, who he is. Dash DJ. She don't know who he is. They got married, and she says they were pregnant 3 months into the relationship. I don't know. She said do what she say, not what she do. I guess, you know, if you want a baby, have a baby. Have a baby for me, mama. Be a millionaire, not 50 Cent. Anyway, she talks about her business. She says Slutty Vegan went from something that she started at home, then she moved onto a food truck, then she found herself with 14 locations, and she found herself $20 million in debt. So I'm hoping we're going to get a little more insight into how that happened. Her and her husband were having a discussion. He's also in the restaurant business as well. They were having a discussion about him opening another location, and she says he needs to franchise. So I'm wondering, like, so did she franchise these locations, or, you know, open them? Because franchising is something different than just owning a business outright. You don't have to be there, you know, involved in the day-to-day. That business is owned by someone else, is run by someone else. It's just under the guise of, you know, your blueprint. And I believe they pay you. So, you know, if you have people paying you for their franchise, that's tricky, you know, when you're talking about your reputation. Because if you get somebody that's got a franchise, they can very well run your name down into the ground. But, you know, I don't know that that's what happened. I think a lot of times, like with Stormy over on Bell Collective now, Bell Collective Birmingham, we're going to get into that tomorrow. When business grows very fast and you don't know a lot about business, I feel like it can get you hemmed up. It's hard to learn, you know, on the fly when you're growing so quickly. She said she lost her company, but she bought it back in 43 days. So I would love to hear more about that. What does that look like? What was the steps to, you know, buying it back from who? Who did she lose it to? Like, Pinky, I have so many questions. You put a little bit of tidbit out there, and then, you know, you didn't give me, you know, maybe this conversation went on bigger, but, you know, they're introducing Pinky, and I like it. I like that her life on this show is matching up with the life that, you know, we've been learning, because her business got out there before the show started. So it's matching up, you know, and we're seeing, like, I don't know, is she a good businessman? Businesswoman, your president bankrupted a whole bunch of times, and look at him now, billionaire, dragging this country down to the ground. We don't know what to expect one day to the next, but, you know, that's not what we're here to discuss. It's hard to not, you know, involve him in conversations just because of the things he's over here doing. People can't afford gas, groceries, the AI sucking up all the water. Let me not get off track. Anyway, she said her husband owns Big Dave's Cheesesteaks. He's the number 6 fastest growing restaurant in the country. I like to hear this, because every time somebody come over here with their husband, y'all, when if a single woman comes over here, everybody's like, she don't have no man. She don't have no man. That's what's wrong with her. She just low value because she doesn't have any man. And now she's over here with a man. When you bring a man, they'd be like, he just wants her for her money. He doesn't like her. He's not affectionate towards her. So, Jesus, Pete. The wives can't win, or the single ladies either. But this man is over here with his own coin. I agree. I think they're a cute couple. I think they also had a real life conversation. You say you think you like her. I think I like her, but maybe not. We'll see. Well, we'll see if she's a MAGA. Does that affect your opinion? Because the street says she be over here liking Trump, his daughters, and all the things. So I don't know. I be looking at Pinky like I'm trying to focus on the story, and not be focused on whether she's a MAGA, because this is an ensemble cast and I don't want to be sitting over here talking about this. But I do agree they are a cute couple. They were having a conversation, and her husband said, how did he say it? Just got everybody all worked up. He said he humbled her. He said she's a lot of energy and she's bossy and all these things. And he said he humbled her a little bit. And I could see, hell yeah, that's going to affect your opinion. Well, I mean, to be continued. Um, I can see where him saying I humbled you can rub people the wrong way. However, I feel like people in relationships speak to each other. It's all an individual thing. He didn't humble her that much because Pinky's personality is very present. So he also said, because people only want to hear one part. He also said that they balanced each other out. So he might have need to be somebody who is a little bit more aggressive in going for it, going for his goals. And she might have needed a little bit of humbling in terms of just relax, slow down, you know what I'm saying, and listen. So I didn't take offense to their conversation. I also happen to be somebody who doesn't think that Charles doesn't like Angela. So somebody was in my comments last week, and she said, we were just talking about Charles and Angela and how he's not a troll and how he's just a prankster and that's how he does things. The whole way he engages with her, I think, is bothersome to people because they would like to see them be more affectionate. And I don't know that he's affectionate or not. I know they've been married for a long time, and I know that you don't marry somebody that's not affectionate and then expect them to be that way 4 or 5 years down the line. That's who they are. So if you marry this man who's not, complimentive and affectionate, then you get what you get. And I feel like Angela is always trying to put Charles on the spot. Like, give me a hug, give me a kiss. And it's performative and he's resistant to it. And I don't know what his sign is, but I'm kind of like that too. I'm somebody that let me do it on my own. Let me tell you I love you on my own. Let me tell you I miss you on my own. If you want to kiss me, then, I don't know how to engage, in terms of that. But I think, she should stop trying to expect him to perform because he ain't gonna do it. And like it or not, that's her husband. She chose him. And so she knew that's how he was. A lot of people don't like public affection. I feel like that too. That's what we were talking about. But I feel like also the commenter brought up, you don't like public affection, but you should be comfortable with your partner. And that's what I said. Maybe it's because the cameras are there and Angela is trying to make him perform. And that's what I think he's resisted to a lot, especially if he is somebody who doesn't like PDA. And I think it's easy to be like, but they're married. But at the same time, I don't know what that's like. Me and Book are affectionate towards each other. So that's not, and in my past relationships, that's never been a thing, But here we are talking about Angela when we're supposed to be discussing Pinky. That's my fault because, I'll be chasing, sparkly things. Anyway, yeah, I feel like, they were over here having a discussion about, being married and balancing that. They got all these kids and she's in a financial crisis. And she said something to the effect that, she was laying up there alone dealing with it. And he was like, you're not alone. But she wasn't sharing with him. And so, see, that's what I'm saying in terms of the way they communicate with each other. Can, people jump off of, wait, why wasn't he there for her? That he was there, but she wasn't sharing, probably because she's a big boss lady that wants to handle everything on her own. And I think a lot of us are like that. You try to handle everything. I know I've been guilty of it. And then, the pressure becomes too much and you're like, and your partner's like, well, why didn't you say something a long time ago? Maybe she felt like she could handle it. But yeah, I want to hear more about Pinky and her business. And so far as a couple, I like them, as a couple. There's no he don't like her, she don't like him type of thing. He think he bossy. He told her he got to humble her. She ain't seeming really humble. So And I don't mean like in a bad way. I feel like he used the wrong word. Piggy's husband, pick a different word because a lot of people are looking at you some type of way. But I love that they got their own, and that they're both restaurant people. Um, K Michelle gets a house. This is a cute house. I feel like these ladies always be over here doing the most, um, trying to get these humongous mansions that they can't afford. But she gets it's not a modest house. It's a very nice house, but it's not like, She by Sheree where she got staircases and things, winding staircases. Anyway, she said her marriage was not a fairy tale. K Michelle makes me sad. As funny and cute as she is, she makes me sad. She said her marriage was not a fairy tale. Um, yeah. I mean, she came over here and she's been with this man since ninth grade. So I feel like they're real life friends. There's no odd tension between them. Um, he said she said she didn't want to get married. She said she came into the relationship saying she didn't want to get married. But then she got in her feelings when he didn't propose. And I'm like, that makes no sense whatsoever. No sense whatsoever. I told my man on date number one that I did not want to get married. So that was an understanding going into the relationship. Now, if I sat over here now talking about you ain't proposed to me, we've been together all these years, that doesn't make sense. So when she says it's not a fairy tale, I'm not going to put that on him. I'm going to put that on her because she told the man she didn't want to get married. Then she went over here and found some other man that she was going to marry. Marry. Oh my God. Some other random man, this was the person that was, a coach, NBA coach or whatever that came over here being too thirsty. So she had to kick his ass to the curb. Why, though, would you feel like you needed to be legally married to this person? How come you can't just be in a relationship and see what it is, especially at this age? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't see why y'all is rushing down to the chapel. She didn't even. She looked like she said she went to the courthouse. So, I mean, was they doing it via Skype? I don't know. But anyway, nonetheless, I'm not, feeling sorry for K Michelle for not having a fairy tale because she didn't require it until, she signed a contract over here on Real Housewives of Atlanta. So make sense. Her husband is starting all over, building a practice. He's a dentist. He's got a successful business. In Memphis, and so now he's, he has to start from scratch basically. I think being attached to K Michelle will put his name out there faster than most people would. He gonna have to network. You say reality is a lot of people marriage is not a fairy tale. It's true. It's true. I think, a lot of women get caught up in the wedding. And I say the wedding is the fairy tale. The relationship is not. So if you know that in your, heart of hearts, that when you plan to matrimony yourself to somebody, the fairy tale part is the wedding, where you stress yourself out about bridesmaids dresses and, caterers and hairdresser appointments until the point where you're stressed and miserable and you haven't eaten anything. Now you're too skinny to fit into your wedding dress. That's the fairy tale. I'm just saying. The relationship part is, what you have before the fairy tale. The relationship part is two people growing together, and sometimes you grow apart. So, and I think we all know that. I don't think anybody needs a lesson in marriage, but here these grown people are, it can only work in her advantage. You know what I'm saying? Over here. But at least her husband is somebody that's been in her life for a very long time. And also he has his own career too. I don't know that he's got K Michelle money, but dentists make a lot of money. So, and then they can, have great investments and things together. So, we'll see. I'd be sad for K Michelle, not because of what's happening on the outside, but what's happening on her, inside. I feel like she's still like her self-esteem is still that old person, that she used to look at over there on Love and Hip Hop, where she was physically beat down by some man. That'll kill your spirit. Her struggle in the industry to become an entertainer and having to change herself physically, mentally, like all of that stuff as far as K Michelle is concerned. Because when you engage, engage with her. I mean, I guess through the TV, but when you watch her, she's very entertaining. Um, so yeah, let's hope. She says she wants a baby. She's got a son, but she wants a little girl. Right now, she's struggling with fertility, and I would imagine that's because, of all the stuff that she's got going on with her health wise and her age. So yeah. Anyway, congratulations on your new house, K Michelle. Shamia, Kelly, and Angela meet up at this little boutique in the middle of nowhere. What a weird little situation. Atlanta has a lot of cool stuff like that, I would say, though. Like, it might be a little area where you go from shop to shop. I don't know where that boutique was. It's a teeny tiny little place. I didn't see anybody in there like that works there. It's just like a house with a bunch of stuff in it. Angela and Shamia in the same room together. And, Kelly and Angela don't have any issues to decide. So what about that baby? Yeah. So they're over here at the store, because again, everybody's, moving forward and, being cordial with one another. Kelly shares with the ladies that her ex-husband did an interview with Tasha K. We've seen that. And I'm like, Angela, nothing good can come from that. Nothing good can come from, a sit down with Tasha K. So it didn't change anything necessarily. I feel like I don't care about her ex-husband, to be honest. He's a non-factor over here. Besides, he's causing stress in her life. Um, yeah, so dealing with that, you think she got time? I mean, you never know what people are over here doing. But Kelly came over here spending thousands of dollars. She says she ain't sent that dog over to the groomers in a while. Apparently, he's just gone to the groomers because he got that ugly stuff on him again and her. I'm calling her him, but she's very pink. She probably wasn't doing it during filming. I want you to stop painting that dog like a leopard, cheetah, whatever it is. Anyway, yeah. Angela asked her how her business is going, and she said things are better. She says she ran into some financial challenges, and it cost her $100,000 just to be back open. She says something like the bloggers or the podcasters or whoever was out here spinning false narratives. I get tired of them doing that. Y'all want the bloggers and stuff to talk about you now. I bet you over in everybody's, maybe not here, but maybe not, maybe, I don't know, because, you never know who be coming through. And I've had people come through and say, what's up? So, even though I'm teeny tiny little me, you never know like who's going to see you. But that being said, they like it when they're getting talked about during, the season to promote, numbers and have people out here watching. And then as soon as stuff goes wrong over their private life, then they want to say the bloggers is in their business. This is public information. You was, owed people money and it was out there and, you were being sued for things, Kelly. So don't say the podcasters was doing it. It was, it was y'all over here. With Angela had her foreclosures and things. She wasn't being fake about that. Tasha's gonna come for her real. I mean, probably, Tasha don't have no type of soul. She's like Giselle. She out here still fighting with Cardi and not letting go. And all she had to do was let go. What did what's the name Sutton say? Let go of the mouse. But Tasha K don't like to let go of the mouse. And in this situation, the mouse is about to be Kelly. She's about to go for it. And especially since, what we're hearing about the grand opening, grand closing, it don't look good for Kelly. Now Shamia is over here trying to stir up drama. But what about what Drew has said, to Phaedra? Angela was like, we talked about it. I processed it and we're good now. And so Angela's like, I'm not about to do that. Why are you upset, Shamia, that everybody's managing their issues, but you're not there to witness it? That's how real managing of issues happens. You do it between the two people involved. You don't have an audience of people. You don't like Drew. So why would you even be present for that? Kelly tells them that Portia accused her of sleeping with a married man, and they like, girl, what? And she kept calling Portia Horsha, 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 and that was corny. That was corny, but it is what it is. They always have a lot to say behind the scenes. Say it to her face. Hopefully, you'll get an opportunity to say that. But I'm not mad at Kelly for saying anything about Portia because Portia knew she was on bullshit when she came over there saying that lady slept with somebody's husband. Child, you should never want to touch that subject ever, Portia. You should never want to have anything to do with talking about somebody's husband. Um, now I hate it when people text me in the middle of a live and they know I'm live. Anyway, Drew has a movie premiere. So she was over here in a sci-fi movie with Claudia Jordan and some other people. I didn't know who all those people were, but she invited the ladies over to the premiere. The movie is called Run. So I don't really get into that kind of movie. So if it catch me, it catch me. If it don't, oh well. Y'all can let me know whether it was good or not. Phaedra is there. Her and Angela have a conversation. Angela gonna bring this fan now. She not playing about them fans. She's over here. I pretty much wouldn't mind having one. Angela, where you selling your fans at? Because I would be probably dead on the top of your list of trying to get me one. They look very cute. I will take it to work. Angela, if you're doing the fans, do the ones that clip to your shirt so you don't have to hold on to it. I don't want to sit around with a fan. Drew is so C rated. Is she C rated? D rated? I wouldn't want to go to a movie to see Drew. I feel like the same Drew we get over here on the Real Housewives of Atlanta is the Drew that we get, If we're going all the way back to Darwin, that in itself was not about Drew's acting. That was the fact that Drew went over here and busted up the relationship that we love so much. We love Melanie and Darwin, and Drew came over here and messed it up. So we don't know whether she was being an actress or not. We just know she busted up one of our favorite relationships. And so she's always going to hold that title. Portia came, no, Phaedra. My notes is a little mixed up. Phaedra came, like I said, her and Angela had a little chit chat. Angela apologized. Sorry about accusing you of doing that thing that you probably did, but for the sake of not being over here acting a fool, we're gonna go ahead and start fresh because this is a new season and that's what we're doing. It seems as though neither one of us are going anywhere, and so there's that. Phaedra is adding absolutely nothing. For 2 episodes, she just stands around, makes faces, does the thing that she always does. That's the only reason why we remember her is from the game. It's true. She did that TLC thing, but I feel like she wasn't actually such a great T-Boss, in my opinion. And now, we have all types of issues. Thank you, MAGA Chili, for, messing it up for us anyway. Portia arrives with her lady friend Sway. And we 2 episodes in, and Portia has had 2 different love interests. Sway's an attractive woman. She go down to the barbershop, get her edges tightened up real good. She reminds me of Coach Stanley a little bit. They got the same kind of look. She seems tall, and this is the thing. Sway is attractive. However, I'm questioning anybody that wants to be in a relationship with Portia, man or woman. I'm like, is it just because she fine? Because, she ain't bringing a whole lot more to the table besides that. And, probably will trade you in from some D's naive right one come along with the right wallet. Even Phaedra, who's supposed to be her friend, said she guessed this lady got enough coin to get the coochie. That's what Phaedra said. She's supposed to be, Portia's friend. Drew came over here and said, what, girl? Why not you living my life? I thought you weren't. I thought that's not what your life is, Drew. And, girl, you're not divorced yet. You should be careful what you're saying over here. Dang, what's my girl's name? T, what's her name? Not this one, but the one that that Drew was attached to be, loving all the ladies. I would like for her to come over here. Y'all can slide her in. I don't know that she needs to date any of these women. I mean, just slide her in as a cast member, or a friend of. Mimi hates that lady. I saw Mimi at the premiere. Is Angela the new bone carrier? Because she came over here telling Portia, Ty, that's her name. I wasn't never gonna think of that. Thank you so much. I like Ty. I think Ty is gorgeous. She is so androgynous on one end, and then she can like doll herself up. She's like the brat. Remember how the brat used to be real like boyish, but then you dress her up and then she's gorgeous. That's how Ty is. Ty is a heartbreaker, and Sway is giving this same energy. I don't know. Sway seemed like a player from the Himalayas. Angela, the bone carrier, told Portia what Kelly said. She said you was over here telling Kelly that she slept with a married man, and Kelly said your name was Portia. And so Portia says she's not going to that lady's chicken and waffle opening if that's how she's going to be acting. So no, she's not going to attend the grand opening. But here we are at the grand opening. Angela Oakley arrives. She wearing her fan, child. Where they at for the grand opening? What's her name? Phaedra is dressed like a disco ball. What'd you say? I hope this girl keep her coins away from Portia. And that's not going to be possible. Because Portia's like, she going to jiggle her big old booty around and the lady might, lose her good sense that the good Lord gave her. And then boom, there she is. Buying Portia's new set of titties. Well, the titties is brand new, so they probably won't need a re-up for a while. Is it just me? These ladies be tittied up. Anyway. I mean, to the point where they just all look so hard. She may be her karma. She got that look in her eye, T. She's got that look of I'm her karma. She looked like Portia gonna be sprung. And then Sway gonna be over there, rubbed up on somebody else. Like your girl Ty be doing. Because the girls be mad at Ty. They be mad at her. She be turning them out. What's her name? Sway got that look in her eye. And I feel like, I don't know what she does, but I feel like I've heard that she's got a good, coin on her. So Kelly's grand opening, the ladies start arriving. Angela, of course, is arriving with her fan. Cynthia came through. You didn't get too much with Cynthia. She was dressed in an old lady lace dress. I didn't like that dress Cynthia had on. All my things are running out of battery life, but it's fine. We can power through it. One thing I will say is Shamia's hair. I like this hair. Shamia, this is the hair you need in your confessionals. This looks so natural. She looks beautiful. Green is my favorite color, so I'm not mad at the dress. Shamia looks amazing. Look at her. Skin, butter. Yeah, that hair is on point. Shamia's mama is doing a lot. They was having a conversation about what's up, Jai Tony? I know you don't be over here watching the Housewives, so I appreciate you coming through to show me some love. Yeah, her mama was doing a lot. Her and Drew are being kind of catty towards one another, and her mother wanted to step in and give them some words of wisdom from the old lady under the tree. Shout out to Funky Dineva. Shamia seems to be in her feelings. She owns beauty studios. Shamia, well, that's a good one. She need to stay up in the studio, and whoever her stylist is for this look, she need to go ahead and keep that one on deck. She's in her feelings. She's sitting over here because all the people have mended fists. Angela and Phaedra are getting along. All the people that were beefing are not beefing. And, she brought up to Drew, that she didn't invite her to the movie opening. And Drew was like, we weren't even, y'all was just at the dinner table over at Portia's house going in on each other. So no, I didn't invite you, Shamia. Shamia wants everybody to be fighting that she doesn't like, and everybody's being nice to each other. Shamia, just relax. The fights will ensue, soon enough. And I feel like no, you're not gonna be present. There's no reason for you to be present for the makeups, unless it happens. They don't ever happen in a group. People don't ever make up in a group. It's always like behind the scenes. Kay is not there because Kay is performing at the Academy of Country Music. And, the first episode, Kelly was feeling some type of way about Pinky, but Pinky, had a little conversation with her and, you congratulated her on her new business. And, they talked about, Kelly said her feelings was hurt because Pinky left her on red during when she was reached out to her, and Pinky explained that it wasn't about her. She had a lot going on, and so it was cool from one black businesswoman to another to see her support and offer up some supportive words. If I didn't care for Drew, then I wouldn't want to go anyone. Right. Why do you want to go to her opening? You don't like her. Y'all been dogging each other out like dogging each other out. Portia's gonna be there. None of the people that you like are gonna be there, but FOMO maybe, Shamia. You realize that if you won't be going to events if you try to stay stank with everybody. Yeah, she been through some stuff, Pinky, and it is a lot of times when you going through some stuff, you don't have the wherewithal to care whatever somebody else is dealing with, especially somebody else that you don't know. It's not like somebody that you cared about. You've got somebody new reaching out to you. In the meantime, you about to lose your business or lost your business, trying to figure out, it was a lot, but it was cool to see them, on a positive note. I know it's not going to stay that way. Everything positive, I know, it'll probably all be over and out the window next week, but thank you for easing us into the drama and not just throwing us in head first. Kelly gives a speech and then, of course, takes a shot at the podcast people because, we were reporting the news about her and we're going to continue to do it. Portia didn't come, but she sent flowers talking about we need to talk. I mean, again, Kelly, you wanted her to come, but she was over here saying, Portia said she thought y'all were good after y'all hugged it out. But you were telling people what she said, which, I mean, of course you're telling people. This girl was over here saying I slept with married men. I'm supposed to keep that to myself? That don't make sense. Anyway, she told everybody. Kelly sat there and told everybody at that table what Portia said, and everybody agreed that they would be pissed if you were over here saying that, and it's not in private. You're saying it in front of a camera crew. And she said they was talking about Dennis. She said we was talking about Dennis in the middle of it. Have you seen Dennis? She shouldn't have came for Dennis because Dennis is, he got something to say. Shamia called out Drew for not inviting her to the premiere. We already talked about that. So let's get into a little bit of the mess before we move on to the last part of the episode. Portia knew they weren't good. She wasn't even trying to make it. She wasn't even trying to make them good. She was over there trying to get back because that lady said she was sleeping with. Say it again, Kelly. Say it again how she stole that lady's husband because that's what she did. So let's get over to Insta and see what the people are saying because things are going on over here. I'll talk about, let's hit this one right quick. So Drew and Dennis had a little back and forth over here on social media. The same social media.
What's up? I'm sitting here beside Bayra.
You should be here, Portia.
Well, she wanted to know what's happening. She should have been here.
Here's Kelly, Portia. See how I make things work? I make things work.
Hello, Miss Williams. Oh, thank you so much. Is that really a congratulations? Where are you? The flowers that broke all up, child. Oh my God, what happened to the flowers? Well, broken flowers from a broken person. That's why. right. Well, you go ahead, honey. You enjoy your night, okay? Thank you so much, sweetheart. I appreciate it. Yes, wonderful. Thank
I don't see the point in calling her if she's not going to be there. She wasn't there because she knew she didn't want to be there. So I don't see the point in that. But okay, so I guess this is Twitter, X, or wherever they be on. Um, Here, let's start at the beginning. Dennis said, damn, was this the opening for the one that's already closed? Yikes. Oops. And Kelly responded, I see why your baby mama likes girls now. Bye, Demisha. Oh. And he said, I think she means Denisha, but if she can't do math and pay those bills, I'm sure she can't spell either. Ooh. Demisha over here being what they call it? Is he being sassy? Is he being sassy down to the Twitter? That Dennis? I mean, she brought him up. He didn't look great in that picture, but you know, we have our good days and our bad days. So, okay. The opening was lovely. Say, well, okay. Yeah, that's what they took it to social media. See, that's what I'm saying. They own social media. So now if we say something about it, then we wrong. And y'all put it over here, out here. Anyway, let's go over here because I was like, is this place open or not open? Because that's unfortunate, you know. Oh, we'll go here. So Nana's Chicken and Waffles. The hours and everything, the menu is everything is up. It says permanently closed. Nana's Chicken and Waffles is permanently closed. If that's wrong, you can suggest an edit. Oh, the people said, if that's wrong, you could go over there and ask them. The website is still up. I wonder if you try to order something online, what's going to happen? I'm not going to go through all of that to order something online. T, you said the food was good, but you went to the McDowell location. Gift cards, press, email sign up. You know, the whole thing is here. Hours. What would the hours be if they were actually open? Maybe you can call them, you know what I'm saying, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. See what, you know, if anybody answers the phone. But according to the Google said they closed. And so that's unfortunate because this business just opened. Like, how long was it? She said she gave the people $50,000 just to open. So maybe, you know, she never could get to that other 50. It take a minute, you know what I'm saying, to build business that's just open. One location has nothing to do with the other. So, you know, Kelly, go over there, talk to Pinky, because Pinky, you know, has lost her business and brought it back, and she's been through the ups and downs, and these are real things. So I'm not going to be mad at Kelly for this. This is real things that she's going through. We don't know like what it's going to cover. We know we saw Drew over there down to her restaurants talking about, I came over here, it's closed. Well, Drew, let's get into what you got going on. So maybe you should have just stayed your ass at home and made sure them kids was getting to school on time, because I don't know how. Anyway, let's see what the people said. It says Real Housewives of Atlanta star Drew Zadora tells the judge she and her oldest child will be homeless if forced to vacate the marital home shared with estranged husband Ralph Pittman. Now, T, I believe we talked about this the other day. So it looks as though her oldest son will be kicked out along with her. What'd you say? You said it's only 2 locations, McDowell and Sandy Springs. McDowell location is jumping, and Sandy Springs is permanently closed. I hope she gets it back together. That's sad to know. It says Drew Sidora is asking the court for permission to remain in her current home as her divorce from Ralph Pittman drags on. According to court documents obtained by TMZ, the RHOA star claims that nothing good will come if she's forced to move out of the marital home she shares with her estranged husband. In the filing, Drew says she does not have the financial resources to vacate the property by May 31st. Girl, stop it. Let me finish. dead by the May 31st deadline, warning that she and her 15-year-old son will be homeless if the court does not reconsider its decision. You will not be homeless. I want her to stop. She also alleges that Ralph earns roughly 3 times her income and claims that while they initially agreed to joint physical custody, he later shifted course and pushed her primary custody of the 2 children once the proceedings begin. As previously reported, Drew is ordered to vacate the home by the end of the month. Well, it says May. Yeah, I mean, she got a month, child. Girl, I want to know. Get an apartment. You will not be homeless. Stop putting it out there like that. Was ordered to vacate the home by the end of the month, a ruling reportedly based on the current financial circumstances of the parties. Ralph, who has reportedly been living in the basement of the residence, was granted primary physical custody during the school year after concerns were raised about the children missing too much school while in Drew's care. She previously held primary custody. A judge has not yet ruled on her latest motion. However, Drew addressed the situation on X over the weekend, writing, "During this time, Ralph and I are committed to co-parenting and doing what's best for the children," she added. "There's no ill intent toward anyone, just continue focus on healing, evolving, and becoming a better version of myself." Why is this lady saying she gonna be homeless? She was just down to the movie premiere. I wouldn't want to live there either. She's got the finances, but not the house, but not housewives worthy. Girl, she better get her a condo until she can figure it out. And that's what I'm saying. That's real life stuff. I'm going through a divorce. I have to get this condo, sign this year's lease until we, manage to figure out what we're gonna do. I'm gonna live somewhere close to where my kids go to school, so I can still take them back and forth to school. I just said that. Maybe she can. You said she can get her a townhouse like Kim had. I mean, and or a luxury apartment. I mean, in the middle of divorce, like if your finances are that tight, girl, this ain't the type of lifestyle you've grown accustomed to. Why is Ralph getting everything? And he went behind her back and got the house. Maybe she don't want to have to take care of the 15. That's her child. And what does the judge say about that? Like splitting the children up and, him saying he wants to adopt the kid and then he doesn't want to adopt the kid. Girl, and you down here with a man on the phone doing dates on TV. I don't understand why her kids weren't getting to school. They said absences. And it takes a lot of absences for the school to step in. I know when my kids were absent, they call you and leave you a voicemail saying so-and-so was not in school today. Yeah, that way, if you know, cool. But if you didn't know, your daughter wasn't in school today. So I want to know, like, what? Ooh, that boy is 15 years old now. Drew need to get her priorities straight. She was over there last season with a Judith bag that was supposed to be, tens of thousands of dollars. The carrying these purses, dripped in designer things. That hair ain't cheap. Them, what is it? Bundles, Portia's bundles, or whatever she calls her hairline. Child, Drew, the math ain't mathing. I'm with Dennis now. Drew ain't mathing. Kelly's math don't be mathing. Get your shit together, Drew. So we gonna be Drew always lying. So I'm assuming that while other people are over here showing their real life, Drew is gonna be coming in here with a bunch of lies, and we done found out she ain't even getting up and get out of here. Remember when Robin couldn't get off the couch to get her kids to school? Well, apparently Drew can't either. She gonna be homeless. I want to kick her in her teeth. Where her mama at? Anyway, K Michelle. This was heartbreaking for K Michelle. She has an emergency medical situation during her performance. You said the school will report you to the authorities. They do. They call it truancy. And so, especially for the little kids, why are they not? They miss so much, girl. I don't understand. The priority should be get the kids to school. And if you have work to do and you're on movie sets and things, then you need to have a nanny in place. I bet you what's her name? Kenya Moore's Pierre doesn't have any problems getting little Brooklyn to school. So, okay, Michelle, I'm side-eyeing you until further notice because we know that what's his name, Ralph, is trash. But I don't understand. I need to know more about why these kids ain't getting to school, um, and why you gonna be homeless if you got to get out the house. None of that makes sense to me. Um, So K Michelle was getting ready to perform at the Country Academy Awards, and she said she was sitting on the couch. When she stood up, it was soaking wet, and I was like, she ruined the people's couch. So the people gonna have to replace their sofa. Hmm, that's that's not the biggest part of what was going on. Apparently, she has an infection, um, where she said illegal butt injections. So she got illegal butt injections, and these are the repercussions of doing these types of things. And she was on a whole show about this plastic surgery, how she's been trying to undo it. Remember when K Michelle was online dancing, her whole booty flopped down? Well, those were from having illegal butt injections. The doctor, what's his name? Terry Dubrow. Dr. Dubrow said he don't do it. That's the worst, most dangerous surgery you can get because you can get blood clots from that thing. You said these girls better be careful going overseas to have surgeries done too. Overseas, just like my girl Selena over on Bell Collective. And having mouth surgery is so important. And over here, and I mean dangerous oral surgeons, the dentist doesn't do surgeries. They send you to the oral surgeon for a reason. This lady was over here getting illegal butt injections. She said she already had a butt. So now she over here, she said they was spray painting her. So in the midst of all that going on, she still pulled herself together enough to go perform, only to come back and find out that she has an infection. So the way the doctor put it, like they have to figure out a game plan in order, to deal with the situation. It's not something like that's cut and dry. He said, for her to go home and don't eat nothing. I was like, oh man, not go home and don't eat nothing. That's gonna be hard. But yeah, he said then we'll discuss the game plan afterwards. So that means they have to assess the situation and figure out what to do next. And it's injection. So how much more of this does she have to go through? Because I feel like she's already been through so much already. They say their butts leak with implants too. I ain't got a whole lot of ass, but I got enough. And thank the Lord for that I wasn't somewhere trying to look for, validation. This is the kind of thing I think that happens through being in the entertainment field and just being a woman in general, because I see plenty of people walking around here look like they ran over to the Dominican Republic or wherever, and they got big old ass and little old thighs. So, I hope the best for her. I mean, it seems like she's got such good things in front of her, but other things are in the way. Um, yeah, so that's how that episode ended. And next week, Drew Blink brings Black. They dating or whatever they doing. She giving this man an opportunity to be on a platform, and that's how y'all get played. You should have left Black down to the hookah bar where you found him at. Now he's over here on this big platform, RHOA, and probably gonna play you. And then don't think the man under the stairs ain't gonna use that against you, child. He gonna say you've been dealing with him for a long time, and he gonna pull up all these receipts and take them to court. Because it seems like you keep going to court and losing and losing and losing. And why is that? Because it's usually not very easy for the men to take the kids away. At the very least, they should be having shared custody. They gave the man temporary primary custody. You can never get all the injections out. Yeah, remember on Basketball Wives when what's her name that was over there fighting with Cardi B's man Hernandez? Not him Hernandez, her Stephon Diggs. You said if Black can get you, what is he doing if he can't get you a place to stay? Why are we wasting our time with Black, calling him her friend, but he on the phone for 3 hours? And everybody's like, why was he on the phone like that? Yeah, what'd you call it? The doctor said it's like trying to get maple syrup out of a towel. So she's just going to be, I guess waiting on one of them things to bust and then have to deal with it. Ooh, child. Well, we don't. I mean, I don't know about Black. I don't care. I just think it's not smart for Drew to be over here worried about dating. Was this why you couldn't get your kids to school? Was you around to Black's house and then the kids was absent? We need to hear more about this. And then K Michelle is finding out what type of person Portia is. So she said she had a miscarriage, and I guess Portia shared it amongst the public. Maybe she told Portia in private, and Portia decided to, share the business. And so, K Michelle, please don't look for Portia to give a damn because she won't. So, you're about to find out. It's episode 3, and the mess is about to ensue. So, yeah, that's it. That's all, y'all. I'll see y'all in the morning at 10:30 for a little coffee talk. In the meantime, y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tomorrow is where you catch me over here on YouTube, 10:15 a.m. and various times of the day. Bye, y'all.